Not one, two, three, but four deals. Well done. Robert White, Roderick. Welcome, Roderick. It's great to have you here. Roderick was, I think, was in my boot camp, or maybe not, but Rosemay, great to have you here, Rosemay. Steve Harbor, Steve Can Caniglio, Thomas Borgeson, welcome. Great to have you. Tom Davis, Master Tom.
All right, we are absolutely live. We are live on YouTube, my platform of choice, and this is going to be phenomenal. This is Artemis has had this in his heart for quite a while, and the title of our class, I actually wrote it down because it is, we like to come up with these lengthy titles. Um, and by the way, should I let me just record this just in case,
Yeah,
YouTube.
go ahead, click record.
Yeah, YouTube does a good job of this. But guys, welcome to the room. Welcome to the class. You are in for an absolute treat with my personal coach, Artemis. Okay. Artemis Prime has been my coach for about 5 years. And he has coached me to greatness. But let me share the title of this, and then I want to kick off how I met Artemis. And I'm just going to turn the keys to the Maserati over to Artemis at that point. So here's the name of our class today, that we're this master class: how to eliminate procrastination, okay, erase overwhelm, and focus on money making activities. How do you do that? That's what we're going to talk about today. If you've got procrastination in your life, raise your hand if you got procrastination in your life. Raise your hand if you have been in overwhelm, and raise both hands if you would like to start focusing on money making activities. Okay. Well, you're in the right room. If that's you, you're in the right room. And I see I can see the hands being raised. I see them. I see you guys raising the hands. Yeah. And this is what it's all about. Artemis, when Artemis met me, actually inadvertently through my wife, he helped my wife with a lot of health challenges. Now, at the time, I didn't realize that Artemis was a master in so many other fields, not just with health, but in business, marketing, branding, you name it. So we became good friends. I hired Artemis as my coach as well. This is a man that charges $5,000 a month for coaching. When I started with my first package, it was $10,000 to coach with Artemis. So you are getting, I mean, this is free. He's giving this information away for free. Why? Because we have a duty and an obligation to bless the planet. Jesus said, freely it has been given, freely give. So we do have that duty and obligation to give as much as we can. Now, Artemis helped me through a time when, even though I had a lot of success in my life, made my first $1 million when I was 29 years old. Artemis met me when I was in my late 40s, and had many, many years of success, but I was in apathy. Okay. I was coasting along. How many of you can relate to that? You're not really in and you're not really out. You're just kind of coasting along, drifting and letting the current take you wherever it goes. Well, that was kind of where I was. I was like, what's the point? I've made millions, I've spent millions, I've made it again, I've lost it all, and I've made it back. What's the point? And so Artemis was able to come in and light within me the fire, the purpose, the passion, so that I was able to write books like Discovering Your Divine Destiny, The Secret to Knowing God's Will for Your Life, really to get on fire, okay, the fire for living, okay, not just waiting for heaven, because that's kind of where I was. I was like, man, I'm just going to wait for heaven. I've already done my work on earth. I'm good. No, no, no. You've got a lot of life left to live. And so Artemis was able to stoke the flame, put a little passion in there, ignite the fire, and it has been absolutely a phenomenal and wonderful ride having Artemis as my coach. Artemis has coached many billionaires. I call him the millionaires coach. Why? Because he's the guy that has the solutions to today's problems. I can't overemphasize it. And Artemis is probably like, man, stop it. Let's go. So at this point, I'm just going to hand the keys of the Maserati over to my personal coach and mentor, Artemis Prime. How we doing, Artemis?
Oh, my life is blessed. I receive abundantly. I'm charged with the Holy Spirit today. Nolly and I have been setting up our studios and getting them primed to deliver more education, more empowering content. You know, the right information in the wrong order can create so much distraction and overwhelm in our life in real estate business. And today is about really self-awareness. It's about understanding who you are first, what gives you flow, so that when you do your lead generation, you go out and build the business and life of your dreams, you're doing more of what you love and less of what you hate. And it's not necessarily about love and hate. That's just the words I'm using. It's really more about getting into that state of flow and enjoying every moment of your day. And then being able to delegate where your weaknesses are and seeing the balance of strength and weakness, and stop trying to do everything and really get to know yourself. Now, for those of you who are watching this right now, some of you have been here before. This will be a review for you. For some of you, this is brand new information. Now, there's a prerequisite to this masterclass in taking your genius test. And you have 4 zones of genius that correlate with the 4 seasons of the year and the 4 cycles of business. So if you haven't taken that genius test, don't worry. Just take in the content today, go take your genius test, and then review the content from knowing your zone of genius. And many of you here do know your primary zone of genius. Today is a masterclass. Take a deep breath in. Everyone take a really, really deep breath in. I'm going to be slowing down it because there's so much information I'm going to deliver you today. I'm going to help engage our breath. My outcome is that we are able to integrate some of this information into our body, not just take it all at the intellectual level. But this is really, really asking you to get the most out of this class today. Choose to get the most out of this class today, and choose to breathe. If you find yourself getting like, whoa, there's a lot of information, just slow down a little bit. Just take a few deep breaths. Write notes. I definitely have been taking notes before we started today. Here's all my notes right here. Those are my kids in the background. Please forgive my children. You know, post-COVID, I got kids in the house. So when you hear them, just know they're having fun out there. And we're going to have some fun today. Are y'all ready to have some fun? Are y'all ready to, are y'all ready to activate your genius? Say yes. Say, I now activate my genius. Every single one of you watching me right now has genius. You were born with a God-given strength to give your marketplace in real estate. And the more you understand that, the more value you can deliver your marketplace. Let me say that again. You were born a genius, but we don't judge a fish by its ability not able to climb a tree. You were born a genius. You have a certain way in which you love to work in your real estate business that is enjoyable. And as you step into that more and more and create a team around you to cover your weaknesses, you start to give more of your true value, your true God-given strengths to your marketplace. And that fortune follows flow. The fortune you desire, fortune follows flow. And this class is a flow masterclass, and it's going to be in 2 parts. So part 1 is self-awareness, how you get into flow through lead generation. Part 2 is self-mastery, where I'm going to be talking about your will, your word, your action, and your behavior, and what you need to align those 4 elements of creation: your will, your word, your actions, and your behavior. So before we dive into the content, let me ask the group. Wow, we got 65 people here. Awesome. So let me ask you, all you watching right now, and all of you watching on the replay, get your pen and paper out. Write down what is pulling you out of flow right now in your business. And it can be anything. It could be, you know, money, emotional blocks, distraction, other people. Just write down. I want you to kind of get clear what's blocking your flow. What's breaking your sense of flow and ease in your business right now? You know, it's important to look at our vulnerabilities and to look at what's up for us, because we learn through looking at our weaknesses, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So go ahead and write down what's blocking flow. What's holding you back right now in your business? And all of us have something, because life is about contrast, you know, and you know, you can't permanently stay in flow, but you can lean into your genius and you can let go of the resistance. And so before I talk about what brings you joy in your business and how you get into flow, I want to first help you understand what may be getting in the way. Does that make sense? What are the blocks that's pulling you out of flow? And just write those down. We're going to put those in a bubble and just let it go. So let's get into wealth dynamics and the wealth dynamics square. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically talk about what is flow and lead generation, the nature of your zone of genius, getting into your nature. And then we're going to go into the wealth dynamics square in a real estate transaction. So we're going to look at how nature communicates to us through our real estate transactions. And then I'm going to pull in my whiteboard and we're going to talk about the 4 zones of genius. And we're going to talk about what brings them flow, how to maximize your time, and how to bring balance. So being true, let's talk about flow. Flow is where you love what you do, period. Flow is also where your actions and your awareness merge in your lead generation, where you're doing what you love and you don't have to effort. You don't have to try hard. It comes naturally to you. Flow is where action and awareness merge. Your sense of self will also vanish. It'll vanish because as your sense of self begins to vanish, you start to come into alignment with source. That's passion, purpose, partnership. And so it's action and awareness merging. It's your sense of self vanishing. And it's where you literally start to become a channel for the Holy Spirit to help your clients and everyone around you, your entire marketplace. You just start to bring in that beautiful God frequency into your life and business. And so that's what flow is to me. And I actually learned that definition from a great book called Rise of the Superman. It was published about 5 or 6 years ago when a lot of this conversation about flow started to emerge. And so it's a wonderful book about flow states. And a flow state is also a peak state of consciousness. When you're in flow doing your lead generation, when you're in flow helping your real estate community, you're in a peak state of consciousness. And when you're pulled out of flow, when you're doing something that seems hard to you, you don't have access to those peak states. When you get in flow, you have access to that peak state of consciousness, and the synchronicities that are all around you start to trickle in from heaven. How many know what I'm talking about? Where like you're doing what you love, and you know, whether you're Dynamo and you're creating something, or you're Tempo and you're in that connection, that one-on-one experience with your client, or whether you're Blaze and you're focused on the people, or whether you're Steel and you're multiplying systems, wherever you are in your zone of genius, when you're in that flow state, you start to notice things that you don't normally notice. Synchronicity is more present. You get that intuition from the creator. Call this person, you know, create this video, connect with this client, and then 5 deals open up from that flow state. So this is the beauty of understanding your zone of genius, because as you start to practice more of what you love in business, synchronicity opens up and you can start to channel more energy. I know I launched my real estate business a year ago. 6 months ago, I got an email from one of our mentors, and I was in flow. And my intuition said, "You need to learn this thing called Facebook ads." So since then, I brought in, since I started studying Facebook ads, Facebook retargeting, direct response marketing, marketing automation, incubation, lead nurturing, lead conversion, I brought in over 550 leads and brought in over $50,000 worth of real estate by putting $4,000 into Facebook. That's a good ROI for my real estate business. And that was a synchronicity. That was a moment where I was slowing down enough to pay attention and say, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen to that moment of intuition, synchronicity. But a lot of you watching today are out of flow. You're living in stress. You're living in compulsion, or got to, have to, must, got to, have to, must, I got to, have to, must. And when you're in those states, you lose sight of your higher wisdom, your higher knowledge, your intuition, the synchronicities that are all around you. And so some of you will need to change your behaviors over the next 90 days to get more inflow so that you can receive more of this insight, synchronicity, and intuition, and take action from those little signs you get from heaven. Flow brings more of heaven into your life and business. Flow brings the synchronicities into your mind and body, and that will turn into more leads, more leverage, and more cash in your business. I'm going to be launching a Freedom Team Mastermind continuity program too. After this webinar, I want to bring in a monthly program where I can help you teach the internal, external environment, how to double your productivity, how to set 90-day goals, 1-year goals, and 10-year goals, so that you can have the accountability you need to change your behaviors. So this class is an introduction to your flow, but you also need a mentor, a system, and a community to stay in flow. So everyone take a deep breath in. I'm going to do a quick screen share. Let's look at, Knolly, go ahead and enable screen sharing real quick. You got to click on the little green box there. So I'm going to introduce the Wealth Dynamics Square from a real estate transactional perspective. And then I'm going to stop the screen share. And I'm going to start teaching how each person, each genius gets into flow in their lead generation. So now, yeah, just hit on the green box there. There's a little arrow, and you should be able to open up. I'll open up me to screen share. All right, here we go. So here is the Wealth Dynamic Square. And this is a map of nature, guys. Like, this is the map of creation. This is based on 5,000 years of Taoist medicine from ancient Chinese philosophy. Wealth Dynamics is a personality profiling system. It is a wealth generation system, and it is a highly sophisticated business development system. And before we get into Wealth Dynamics, Knolly, what has Wealth Dynamics done for you? Like, tell us, what has it done for you in your business?
I'll try to keep this brief.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you first started talking to me about Wealth Dynamics, I was sitting in your house on your couch, and you were talking all this about Wealth Dynamics. I wasn't interested in it. I didn't. That's kind of typical with me, I think, Arttemis, where at first I'll kind of poo-poo something a little bit because I'm a skeptic. And but when I started looking into it, I said, wait a minute, this is what I've been teaching for years, but it's a highly advanced. I've been teaching the DISC, the Myers-Briggs, personality profiling, all that kind of stuff. Well, when we went to when Roger Hamilton had an event here in Austin, we went to it for Wealth Dynamics. It was the very first time that I'd ever gone to an event and left the event feeling peace. Like, I've always left a lot of events feeling excited and on fire. I'm going to do all this stuff. Well, with Wealth Dynamics, actually, after the event, I learned, actually, I have to do a lot less than what I've been doing. It was the first event, or the first body of knowledge that ever taught me that it's not in doing more, it's in doing less that you're going to get to more. Okay. So what Wealth Dynamics has done for me is it has allowed me to scrape out of my mind and off my plate, I would say 80 to 85%, maybe even 90% of the stuff that I previously had in my mind, because it's not in my zone of genius. Once I was able to understand what my zone of genius is, I was able to say, you know what? I'm going to focus all of my attention and energy into that singular zone of genius. And it's made me 10 times more productive and more profitable.
So do y'all hear that, guys? Knolly Williams, who already has 40,000 agents since email list, multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses, got 10 times more productive with Wealth Dynamics. What can it do for you? Well, there's a lot of different personality profiling systems out there. Like Knolly mentioned, Myers-Briggs, DISC profiling, Kobe test. There's all these systems. What makes Wealth Dynamics superior, in my opinion, is that it's connected to time. All the other systems they show you who you are, but they don't necessarily show you how to get connected to the cycles of time in flow and create more with less. Now, Wealth Dynamics is also connected to the Wealth Lighthouse, which is a structure of wealth creation up 7 levels. So Wealth Dynamics today in this webinar masterclass is about you. But Wealth Dynamics in the future, as I take you into the Freedom Team and into the Freedom Team Mastermind, is going to be about how you build flow in your team and how you create a structure where you can grow up 7 levels of wealth. All other systems that you've studied are not connected to time or these 7 levels of structure. And so this is the beauty of Wealth Dynamics, is that it's also connected to your purpose. It's also connected to the question, why? All the other systems don't ask you why. But in our system, why is the most important thing, because we call that the 5th element, which is the element that rises you up in wealth. And a lot of this stuff Knolly was doing intuitively with his business. And now, guys, we have a language, we have an architecture, we have a system to give you that every agent can benefit from when they first learn who they are. And before we learn who we are, let's talk about the real estate transaction. So in nature, we have 4 seasons. We have spring, which is dynamo. We have blaze, which is summer. We have tempo, which is fall. And we have steel, which is winter. Dynamo is the question, what? Blaze is the question, who? Tempo is the question, when? And steel is the question, how? What, who, when, how? In real estate, what do we sell? Houses. What had to happen before we could sell houses? A builder, an architect had to ask, well, what am I going to build? They had to create something. They had to jump into their idea, the imaginal realm, and create the house. And when the house was created, what did we do as agents? We took it to the marketplace. You know, whether we're working with buyers or sellers, we're asking who? Who do we take the house to? Who? Oh, okay. Let's get a bunch of agents out there buying and selling and bringing clients to the who do we ask? Who do we call? Who do we connect? Who? And then all of a sudden the agent says, yes, I want to buy that house. Or yes, Knolly, I want to sell that house. And when they say that, we slow down a little bit and we get into a tempo frequency, which is about connection and timing. And we take that client, that buyer or seller through a slower process that then takes the contract into completion. And that's the what, who, when, and how of real estate. And so in nature, guys, we have the creation of business. In nature, we have the cycles and the timing of transactions. And in Mother Nature is your nature, your zone of genius. So when you look at those 4 cycles of a real estate transaction, you also have your natural zone of genius, the things you enjoy doing mostly in those different parts of the transaction. There are things that you will love to do as you look at your zone of genius. Type it in the chat if this is making sense. Just type in, yes, I get it. That like this is really about you understanding your nature and your zone of genius. We all have all 4 zones of genius in us. So every one of you, as you were formed in your mother's womb, your nervous system was being formed. And as you're being formed, you have this natural expression, this natural zone of genius as you come into this world. And you have all 4, and yet one you have the most strong. And then the other 3 are slightly less and less and less. So when I talk about the 4 zones of genius today and how you get into flow in your lead generation, remember that you have all 4, but one is going to speak most prominently to you. So it's not about one or the other. It's just about learning where your primary strength is and doing more of that, because fortune follows flow. Am I making sense? That you have all 4 zones of genius. Let's teach you where your primary zone of genius is. And then let's also teach you where your blind spots are, where your weaknesses are, so that you don't try to do everything in your business. You know, it takes teamwork to make the dream work. You're going to have a mentor, a system, and community. If you're Blaze Genius, you're going to need to have someone to help you with systems. If you're system smart, you're going to need someone to help you teach marketing and branding and automation. There's always the balance of understanding where you get into flow and where you need help, because you don't have to do everything in your business to succeed. You do one thing really well and you get into that strength and that flow. And let's talk about that. Let's see now you've seen the Wealth Dynamic Square. Now I'm going to bring it down to my whiteboard. Everyone take another deep breath in. Let's bring this down a little bit. So here's the Wealth Dynamic Square drawn out. And before I go into the different geniuses and how you lead generate in flow, I want to talk about this as a map of your brain. So this is your brain on Wealth Dynamics. Are you ready for this? How many of you are cracking up? This is your brain on drugs, and this is not your brain on drugs. This is your brain on Wealth Dynamics. Dynamo genius is neocortex. This is frontal lobe. This is where we see and visualize ideas, innovation, imagination. Some of you love, if you're Dynamo smart, you love ideas. You love what's innovative. You're out there just looking at the next greatest thing. Blaze genius is right brain dominant. Steel genius is left brain dominant. And tempo genius is temporal lobe dominant. So this wealth dynamic square that we've known for 5,000 years, imagine how wise those Taoist masters were when they started mapping the universe and they started mapping creation. And then imagine how wise Roger Hamilton had to be to take that map and give it to us for business. Like, I stand on the shoulders of giants. You know, this information I'm giving you today is based on 5,000 years of deep, deep understanding of nature and the laws of creation. And when you get in harmony with nature, you have the power of God to work for you in your business. I'm going to say that again. When you get in flow and you build a team in flow, you literally have the power of God, which is the laws of nature, working in favor in your business. And that's so cool. That's why I want to teach you all this and help you embody it, because it just makes business fun again. Dynamo is neocortex. Blaze is right brain dominant. So right brain is geometry. It is feeling. It is nonlinear. Left brain is systems, numbers, linear words. So some people are more right brain dominant. Some people are more left brain dominant. Now, some people have a little bit of neocortex, frontal lobe, and right brain dominance. And so you're like right here on the wealth dynamic square. So some of you, when I talk about these geniuses, you're like, oh yeah, I got that and that. And yet one of them is going to be more strong than the other. Some of you have a little bit more tempo and right brain dominance. And the temporal lobe is all about timing and connection. Your temporal lobes is right here. This is frontal lobe, right brain, left brain, temporal lobe. So this is how you think and how you feel. Tempo geniuses are really very connected to time and kinesthetic and action. And so before we go into the different geniuses and how you love to do business, we need to understand that this is a map of your central nervous system. This is your nature. This is how you're wired. This is what you love to do naturally. But here's another thing, guys. None of this is intuitive. None of this is intuitive. You have to learn who you are before you master business. Some of you are trying to master business not knowing yourself. Oops, that's not the way you make a happy, healthy business. You got to know who you are and practice the expression of your genius to your marketplace in flow, powered by your purpose on the path of least resistance. So now let's break this down a little bit more. You have a thinking dynamic, which is dynamo and tempo, and you have a feeling dynamic. So with Knolly, we call him a steel genius. That means he's introvert. That means he loves systems and numbers more than he loves people. He gets into flow through analyzing, learning how things work, and multiplying. And then we have the opposite over here, which is extrovert, which is people smart, right brain dominant. People who are Blaze genius, I'm a Blaze genius, I love people. Blaze geniuses get it, they love fun and variety. They're extrovert. They're always looking into the question, who do I call? Who do I connect with? Who do I reach out to? So this is our feeling dynamic. This is introvert, extrovert. Dynamo and tempo is our thinking dynamics. This is how you think. So we all have a different way in which we think, and we all have a different way in which we feel. This is high frequency thinking intelligence. This is low frequency thinking intelligence. So if you're a dynamo agent, your head's in the clouds. You're always looking at new ideas, innovation. You're looking for the next greatest thing. If you're a tempo agent, you have your ears to the ground. Tempo is dynamo grows, tempo slows. So tempo is ears to the ground. You love the one-on-one. You love connecting. And I'm going to be saying this again a couple of times in the webinar today, because I want you to really master some of these basics and fundamentals. So this is our thinking dynamic. This is our feeling dynamic. When we look at this, this is the what, the who, the when, and the where. And then guess what's in the center here? This is actually a pyramid. And the fifth element is the question why. And so what, who, when, where, why. And the why is the spiral, moving us up into success. So it's not just about knowing who you are and getting into flow in your lead generation. It's also one of the most important questions to ask is, why am I doing this? And I'm going to talk about that in part 2 of our masterclass. So let's break it down. Are you ready for this? This is a note-taking time. If you haven't been taking notes right now, because how many dynamos do I have on the call? Give me a what? Give me a dynamo here in the chat. How many blazes do I have in the call? Rebecca, Blaze Genius. Will Gilliam, Blaze Genius. You know, how many you love people more than you love the details? Give me a shout out. Who's the blazes here? How many tempos do I have here? Kenneth Trahan's a tempo in our community and tribe. How many tempos do I have here? Give me a shout out. How many steals do I have here? Knolly Williams, what? What? Give me a shout out, steals. Who's the blazes? Who's the steals? Let me know who you are, where you are. This is what I'm about to give you all is so gold. Like Knolly even hasn't seen this yet. This is so freaking powerful. As you start to learn and embody this stuff, this is how you create multi-million-dollar success, is understanding your strength and your weakness, and then building a structure around you that covers that weakness, that blind spot. So most of you know your zone of genius. So let's talk about Dynamo first. So Dynamo geniuses head in the clouds. What gives a dynamo flow is creation. So we're going to break down each one of these in 3 parameters. What gives them flow, how they maximize their time in lead generation, and how they maintain a balance of structure to complete what they started and get shit done. Whether you're introvert or extrovert, we all need a structure around us so we can get our shit done. So we can build from vision and passion or build from structure and accountability. And so I'm going to be covering these 3 for each zone of genius. And then over the next 90 days, as you work more with me or your performance consultant, we're going to get you more success in less time because your fortune follows flow and your success is based on structure. So I also want to break down some structures here. What brings a dynamo genius into flow? Let's come back to Dynamo. Dynamo is about creation, ideas, innovation. Dynamo geniuses love ideas. They love innovation. Your head's in the clouds. You're great at starting things, but you suck at finishing things. How many know what I'm talking about? You just love creating, but you don't necessarily finish what you started. So you can start spinning all these plates, but you never create the marketing, the automation, and the nurturing sequences that actually build you leverage in your business because you're always chasing the next shiny object. The dynamo genius needs to create. Write that down. I create what I love in my real estate business. Now, we all get to do that, but for a dynamo to stay in flow, 30 to 45 minutes of creation every day. Creating a PDF, a video, some kind of value you can deliver your marketplace. I have 36% Dynamo and 44% Blaze. So this is me right here. And every morning before I start my lead generation, I'm usually in the process of creating. I create something. I get into that creative flow. And then as long as I get my creation out of my system, the rest of my day works great. But for dynamos, if you don't spend 30 to 45 minutes creating something, just anything, it could be a journal entry, it could be a video, it could be a PDF, then you're going to start feeling this pressure in your system. And you're like, man, I needed to create something, but I didn't. And then you get into frustration because you're not creating. And then that blocks your ability to lead generate. How does a dynamo maximize their time when they're lead generating? 5-minute recesses every 30 minutes. Because both Dynamo and Blaze geniuses, they need variety. They need to be in a place of variety and just imagination. So if you're a Dynamo Blaze genius and you're sitting at your desk for an hour and a half, contracts and calls and lead generation, you are burning out. For Steel and Tempo geniuses, 10-minute recess every 50 minutes. For Dynamo and Blaze, 5-minute recess every 30 minutes. So I'll tell you a story. About a month ago, I was in such a flow state, and I committed to taking that 5-minute recess every 30 minutes. And a month ago, I was writing a sales page, creating a 3-month training program, putting 2 buyers under contract, and building a slide deck. I did all that in 8 hours, but I didn't do it in 1-hour blocks. I did it in 30-minute blocks, taking 5-minute recesses. So as a Blaze genius with a high dynamo frequency, I was taking the recesses I need to stay in flow so I could access more of that energy to get more shit done. And so some of you are working too long and sitting at your desk too long, and you're breaking your flow. Am I making sense? How many is having an aha right now? You know, you want to take recesses in harmony with your zone of genius so you can stay in flow and do more with less. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, guys, but we don't need to burn out trying to be steel, working an hour. We need to be taking recesses every 5 minutes. And for Dynamo and Blaze, every 30 minutes, 5-minute recesses every 30 minutes. How does a Dynamo genius get balance? So one of the problems with the Dynamo genius is that you're great at starting things in your real estate business, starting the call, starting the lead, getting them connected, to the process, the house, getting them under contract, but you're not finishing the strategy that you need to build and scale and leverage your business. You're great at starting, but you're not finishing. So what a Dynamo genius needs is a roadmap, a promotion plan. All Dynamo geniuses and all other geniuses, get a whiteboard. That's a what by when roadmap. For you Dynamos watching, write down what by when. And you need to have a 90-day roadmap mapping out your marketing, automation, and nurturing systems so you can complete what you start. Because to counterbalance all this high frequency energy coming in from heaven, we need earth. We need to take that seed and plant it in the earth and water it. Spring and autumn, the idea and the ground. And some of you Blaze geniuses are hearing this too. You're like, oh yeah, I'm great at starting things, but I never finish what I start. I never get the leverage. So it's a constant hustle and grind. And so as you build the 90-day promotion plan, that's a structure that balances the what by when. So the Dynamo needs a what by when and a 1 month, 3 month, 1 year vision so that you can channel this energy into the when and complete what you start. This is golden, guys. Like what I'm telling you is so good. Knolly, talk to us about your whiteboard. How beneficial has your whiteboard been for you in your business?
I actually did a video on YouTube called Knolly Gets a Whiteboard. And some of you guys have seen it, but I've got whiteboards everywhere. I've got one right behind me. It's 8 foot long. I've got one right here on the side of me. And then I've got another one on this wall. And I'm just ordered another one for this back wall. So my whole, here in my vision room, my whole life is surrounded by whiteboards. They are so fundamentally important to me. And actually, I've been using whiteboards for about 30 years, maybe a little longer than that. But so yeah, they're truly could not live without them.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that knowledge. So whiteboards are cool. I got 3 in my room too. So like as you're building your $1 million business, you're going to eventually have a canvas to express your genius on a whiteboard. And for the Dynamos, you need to have that structural tension, which is just a positive understanding of what by when. Now let's move from Dynamo to tempo. So tempo's on the call. I love you. You're so frustrating to me sometimes because you get stuck in a rut. Tempo's just, you love connecting one-on-one. Tempo geniuses are not good bringing in the new ideas. You don't have to come up with the idea. Your genius is about connection. It's about kinesthetic. It's about working one-on-one. So Dynamo grows, tempo slows. If you're a tempo genius and your temporal intelligence is, you get into flow by doing, by actually going out and doing the work in your real estate business. You need to actually work out every day. You need to get in your body. You need to connect with people face to face. You need to have those one-to-one interactions that bring you into flow. So tempos get into flow through one-on-one connection and kinesthetic, doing the work. If you're too busy trying to come up with the idea, or if you're trying to talk with a lot of people every day, that brings you out of flow. But if you're doing one-on-one, you're doing the work, you're getting into the activities, you're doing things kinesthetically, that gets you into flow. So that's how tempos get into flow, is doing and connecting. The tempo genius, one of the challenges with the tempo genius is that you get so good at doing the real estate activities that sometimes you forget how to grow. You get frustrated because you don't seem to be going anywhere in your life and business. It's like you're in an eddy current. You know, tempo geniuses, they need access to a mentor who can help them with the ideas and the systems, because that's not your natural genius. So stop trying to be a great marketer, tempo geniuses, and get a mentor and a support system to help you with your ideas and your marketing, because you're going to struggle trying to come up with the ideas. Plug into a mentor system and community, tempo geniuses, and leverage your genius in the SOI and the network and the connection with others. You're going to be able to pull those people in, and then your mentor and your system is going to be able to give you strength and leverage. Now, why does a tempo genius need a whiteboard? Is because you lose sight of the big picture. We as dynamos, we always have our head in the clouds. We love the big picture. But tempo geniuses, you can get stuck in these ruts and you lose sight of the big picture. So it's like you're confusing activity with accomplishment. You forget how to grow and scale. And so you build a 90-day promotion plan and you start thinking in quarters under the guidance and direction of your mentors. And when tempo geniuses get this whiteboard and this 90-day promotion plan in front, it prevents you getting stuck in that rut, getting lost in the activity, because you love the activities, but sometimes in your weakness, you get lost in it. So when you have that vision in front of you every day and every week, you're measuring the activity moving towards the goal, you're bringing a balanced structure to help tempo move up the lighthouse of wealth. So tempos and dynamos both need the 90-day, quarter, and promotion plans, but for different reasons. And all four zones of genius need it, but I'm explaining it to you from a thinking dynamic, because thinking is about visioning or creating, whether it's creating from the idea or creating from the connection. We need to understand the power of the whiteboard and having the successful promotional plan structure, so the dynamos can complete what they started and the tempos can keep their eyes on the vision. Make sense? Everyone type yes in the chat if you're getting this. This is why we need to take ourselves into this understanding, so we can become masterful in the creation of our real estate business, become masterful creators and entrepreneurs. And you want to be pulled by your vision, not pushed by your problems. Be pulled by your vision, not pushed by your problems. And have a mentor system and community around you who knows how to give you flow. So for those of you watching who have teams, make sure you know their zone of genius so you can give those geniuses flow in the activities you give them. Don't put a still genius on stage every day for a week. They're going to burn out. Don't tell a blaze genius to be your transaction coordinator. They're going to burn out. Doing all the details and trying to don't give them a lot of details to do. Give them the big picture. Give them a one-page business plan. Give them a one-page document, what by when. So now that we've talked about dynamo and tempo, let's move to the blaze, and then we're going to end at steel, and then we'll go into part 2 of our masterclass today. How many of you are enjoying this information today? Say yes. Type it in the chat. Are you? Will says, "Don't confuse me with the details." Blaze genius, I love it. Yeah, Will, we need a one-page marketing master plan for your business, and then 90-day promotions, and then you just do what by when, what by when, what by when. Rock it out, brother. So, blaze genius extrovert, steel genius introvert. The blaze geniuses are people smart, steels are system smart. So if you're a blaze genius, what gives you flow? Fun and variety. People and collaboration. So if you're a blaze genius, write people and I collaborate with people. So as a blaze genius, remember, I'm taking 5-minute recesses every 30 minutes. I'm staying in flow with time, but I'm also knowing that the question is who, not how. It's the who, not how. When I joined Knolly's team and got successful listings, I got the how. I'm going to go out and generate leads and connect the who to the how. I don't need to build it. I don't need to reinvent the wheel as a blaze genius. The system's already created for me. I just go out and focus on who and collaboration and connection with people. A blaze genius needs to stay in flow through fun and variety. So for you blaze geniuses watching, if you're working in one place all day, break up the environment. So starting your lead generation bunker in the morning, and then after you do lead gen, take your office somewhere else. Transport your office to nature or to a coffee shop or to the living room, but you need to break up the environment. A steel genius, you can work in one room all day long. How many know what I'm talking about? Knolly Williams. Can you stay in one room and just love it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're steel, you like your bear's den. It's okay for the steels to stay in one place, and you can get into flow all day long. Now remember, you're taking 10-minute recesses every 50 minutes, but you don't have to have variety to stay in flow. If we're over here, right brain dominant, changing up our work environment 2 to 3 times a day allows us to get more work done. Is that cool? I'm here to remind you, Blaze Geniuses, that fun and variety is what brings you flow. And so changing your environment, starting with your lead gen bunker in the morning and then just going out and connecting with people in the afternoon. As you get into flow, fortune follows flow. As you start doing the great things that bring you flow, you start pulling in the leads off the radar. Because remember, guys, 99% of your leads are off the radar in your real estate business. And the more fun you're having, the more you love what you do, the more you can draw in that success. Your fortune follows flow. So as you start to lead generate in these ways, understanding how you get into flow and staying in flow, you start to actually magnetize more abundance. Because it is also about a joy. It's about a fun. Business is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to enjoy what we do in business when we know who we are. And then we've mastered marketing, systems and automation. So Blaze Geniuses, the balance for a Blaze Genius is also having a mentor that gives us structure. Because Blaze is summer energy, this is winter energy. So if you're a Blaze Genius without structure, if you're not structuring your lead generation like the Accountability Partner Program, then sometimes you'll start your lead gen, you'll get distracted, you'll go make a drink, you'll get distracted, get on a phone call, and you lost your momentum because you lack structure. So it's a Blaze Genius needs to have a structure, which is metal energy, which is like a container to channel the fire. And so what is your best structure? And this is true for all zones of genius, especially for the Blaze though, because you get easily distracted because you're always looking for the variety. You're looking for the next thing to do. That's fun. And if it ain't fun, you get out of flow. And yet you also need that structure 2 hours a day, 9 to 11 a.m. So when Knolly says do the 2, make sure that you're taking 5-minute recesses every 30 minutes, but you still have that metal container, that steel container around your Blaze Genius. So that's the structure for the Blaze. And that's how the Blaze stays in balance. Everyone take a deep, deep breath in. Let's breathe in and just integrate some of this information. Dynamo grows, tempo slows. The Blaze Genius glows and the steel knows. This is spring, summer, autumn, winter. When I teach you wealth dynamics, I'm teaching you what is natural to you, what is in nature. Learning is remembering what you already know. These principles are universal and they connect us to time. They connect us to what we love. They connect us to how we grow up the Wealth Lighthouse. And so this is a universal system of personal mastery. It's to help you get the most out of your day and also build the structures and the containers so you can get the most out of your life. And that's wealth dynamics. It's not just about personality. It starts with that. You need to understand what gives you flow and where the balance comes in. And then when you build from that, you start to create a beautiful life because your life starts to blossom from understanding these laws as they express through your natural zone of genius, through your team's genius, and through your business development. Wealth Dynamics is a highly sophisticated business development system, and this is the first masterclass on it that we're going to teach you. Steel geniuses, oh my gosh, sometimes you forget to drink water. Sometimes you forget to take care of yourself. You're so in the left brain, you're so thinking about the details and the how and the numbers that you just go like numb to certain things. You know, like how many steals know you can just get lost in the details? You know, you love the details, but sometimes you get down these rabbit holes, and the steel geniuses are so like into the numbers and how things work that you just get lost in the how. And that's what brings a steel genius, you know, that's what can kill a steel genius from growing his business, is getting lost in the details and not having the right balance in the marketing, nurturing, and automation sequences. You can get lost in the details and lose that balance. What brings a steel genius in flow is measurement. Knolly, tell us how much you like to measure.
I pretty much measure everything. And you know, I can live inside of a spreadsheet. You know,
Yeah,
I can live inside of a system. And there's a lot of things that I actually choose not to learn because I know it's a rabbit hole for me. I'll go pretty far down that rabbit
yeah.
hole, you know.
So Nolly is a mature steel genius. He's actually learned to put, you know, stops, you know, put barriers or healthy boundaries between things, so he doesn't have to go too far down the how, because that'll pull him away from his why, which is his vision. We're going to talk about that in part 2. So steel genius, measure your lead generation. If you're steel, track the hours every day, track the leads coming in every week, track the conversions of leads into clients every month. Measurement brings this steel into flow. If you're Blaze genius, just go connect with people. Who do I call? Who do I connect with? What do I, you know, who? The steel needs to measure to get into flow. The Blaze needs to collaborate to get into flow. So measurement brings the steel genius into flow. I can see some light bulbs going off for Nolly. It's like, yeah, there's some things I probably need to measure a little bit more to get a little bit more into flow in those areas. What are you thinking, Nolly? You got light bulbs going off. I can see it.
Yeah, they really are. You know, I don't want to stay too far on the steals, but it does look like there are quite a few steals on this in this webinar. So, yeah, I mean, the light bulbs for me are really y- here's the big light bulb that I'm getting for everyone. There's a lot of stuff that you're doing right now that you shouldn't be doing, and that you should be delegating, and that you should scrape off your plate. And what happens with this information? In fact, there's one here. Christy says, getting overwhelmed with it all. What happens with this kind of information is that it can seem overwhelming. The reason why is because it's new information. It's non-intuitive. It's maybe you haven't heard this before. You haven't heard it at this level before, but it actually is very easy, very simple. It you essentially you're able to retract, and you're able to, when you step into flow, you're only doing the things that you love to do. That's what makes this system so enjoyable. How would you like to spend all of your time and energy doing what you love? That is this system. So for example, when you take my 46-step system for listing a house, you you only are going to do the things in that 46-step sequence that are within your zone of genius. Okay, everything else you're going to leverage it out. Okay, so, and Artemis will get more into that here in a little bit, but yeah, light bulbs are going out off for me
Yeah.
because I'm really seeing how valuable this information is for my tribe.
Yeah, and thank you, Nolly, for like giving me another perspective, because I'm the teacher. I'm wearing the teacher's hat. I'm teaching multiple personalities holographically in this class today. You all have different geniuses. Just pay attention to where you land, and take action with the basics and fundamentals of, if you're Dynamo and Blaze, make sure you're taking recesses more frequently to stay in flow. If you're Tempo and Steel, 10-minute recesses every 50 minutes, but make sure you have the right structure around you to get you into the vision, into the passion. So remember, tempos get stuck in a rut, so they need the 90-day plan. Steels lose sight of their passion. So the structure for the balancing of the steel genius is, who do you serve, why do you serve, and how do you provide exceptional value to your real estate market? And that's going to take us into part 2. But if you're steel genius, you get so obsessed with how things work in real estate and how marketing works and how lead generation works and how, that sometimes you forget to connect and network with people. So the first structure with the steel genius is go to 2 open houses a month, go network 4 times a week, to wherever you need to go out and meet people, but you need to get out of the house steels and network, because that's the structure to connect you to the who, that your genius is going to amplify. The blaze genius magnifies the real estate lead. The steel genius multiplies the transaction in the system. So this is magnification, this is multiplication. And so steels, remember to network. Don't get stuck in your bear's den. Get out of the house. And also, steel geniuses need to have a passion board. All zones of genius benefit from all these structures. And yet for the steel, if you lose sight of your passion, you become very cold. So Knolly, when I did the passion test with you, what did that do for your business?
Well, let me say talk about what you just said for a minute
Go
first.
ahead, yeah.
You said you get very cold. I can tell you when I get out of my zone of genius, I get downright cranky. I get irritable. Why is this fool calling me, man? Doesn't he, I just get cranky. There's no other way to say it. When I'm in my zone of genius, I'm having fun. Just the other day, I had been I mean, I can stay, some of you guys don't know this, but I can stay in my house for a week without going anywhere. And I'm cool, I'm good, That's the reason why my vehicles, my car has very low mileage. It's less mileage than an old lady that just goes to groceries and church, because I don't even go, do that many errands. So I actually get, interestingly, I mean, this is a true story. I bought my first Mercedes, I bought from an elderly lady. It's that story that you hear. Her husband had passed away. She had the vehicle in her garage for like 2 or 3 years after he passed away. And I got to tell you, Artemis, that vehicle was pristine condition. In fact, when I had Lemon Busters look at it, the guy did a 93-point inspection, and he said that the oil well, when he looked in it, he said it looked like it had been polished, where you put the oil in. I mean, it was that pristine. And the car had low mileage. Okay, it had been around for, I think when I bought it, it had been for 7 years. It had like 30,000 miles. Okay, well, it's funny because when I tracked how much I drive less than that lady. So I don't know where she was going, but I'm a bit of a hermit. A lot of people don't know that about me. But the other day, I was getting cranky, and I said, you know what? I got to get out of this house. And so what I did was I got in my car. I drove about 5 miles to a coffee place. I got me a tiny little 8-ounce coffee, and I drank my coffee there, and I drove home, and I felt so much better just getting out. Now, I didn't get out and meet people, and I get it. I need to do that. I'm doing that next week. And that's the reason why when, God has me go out and teach and train and coach, but there's a limit to how much of that I can do in person. Okay. There is a threshold that's another reason. I'll just end with this. That's another reason why I don't do a lot of one-on-one stuff. It drains me. It wears me out. I like it at the time, but I can be down for like 2 days after that. So
Yeah,
I have to manage my energy.
totally. And I love people. I love collaboration. I can do this all day and never burn out. Actually, when I'm with all of you on Zoom, 68 beautiful souls, I get energized, and I could do 3 more of these today and have more energy at the end of the day. But if Knolly did 3 more this day, he would not have the same energy I do. And so this is the beauty of knowing your zone of genius. Now let's talk about your will and your word. For those of you who need a little recess, just take the phone or the computer with you and go somewhere else if you need to move and shift energies.
Hey, Artemis,
Yeah,
before you get, are we getting into part 2?
we're getting into part 2, yeah.
Let me just say this. I'll keep it brief. So, because I saw a couple of people on here earlier, and I know this information can be very overwhelming. It was overwhelming to me when I saw it the first time. But as I'm looking in the chat, I see
They'll have a replay to watch.
Yeah, there'll be a replay. But one of the things that Artemis did, and that's the reason why we made this a 90-minute class, because at first we were like 60 minutes. We're like, that's just not going to do it. But real quick, when we sat down with Artemis, we've been going back and forth the last several days, like, what is it that would get our students into action? Because a lot of you know what to do. You've got the books, you've gone to the seminars, you've gone to the trainings, you've gone to the webinars, you know what you should be doing. But for some reason, there's just something within you that keeps you from your greatness. It keeps you from magnifying and becoming who you truly are. There's just something that is stifling you. So that's the thing that Artemis and I have been prayerfully working on for over a year. And so finally, Arttemis said, you know what, I'm going to do a 90-day sort of this, you could share with more about that later. But at first we were talking, $1,000 a month, then it was going to be $300 a month. And we realized that a lot of you guys just are broke. You don't have that much money. And so Arttemis has created this, it's not even created yet, but it's in the process. It should be ready in a week or so. And I'll be part of it. It's a 90-day curriculum for less than $100 a month. Because my thing was, how do I get, this has been my thing from the very beginning. How do I get Arttemis, how do I get the common person access to Arttemis? Because many of you, like somebody was like, man, I don't have $5,000 a month to pay Arttemis. So I was like, how can I get everybody access? And so this is kind of what we came up with. What I know is that when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. It's not a huge money maker. It's not gonna make Arttemis rich, but it's like, how can we get him compensated a little bit for his time, but how can we get his information to those of you that otherwise couldn't afford it? So you'll talk about that later. Let's get into part 2. I'm excited.
Yeah, and in my 90-day program in the Freedom Team Mastermind, it's really about doubling your productivity, the most successful tools to eliminate distraction and overwhelm, and then how to do your lenses, which is your 90-day, 1-year, 10-year goals, and then meeting twice a month to remove the blocks that you have to making those goals and dreams come true. And so it's a very like 10,000 feet, 30,000 feet perspective you need on your life and business, so that you can do more with less by clearing distraction, overwhelm, by getting clear on your vision, by getting more productive each day, but also by clearing all the resistance and the emotional mental blocks to getting there. And so that the Freedom Team Mastermind follows this masterclass very beautifully, because you learn the information, but then you need to embody the information. You learn this information. So for some of you, it's like, man, I've been doing things way outside my zone of genius. This is why I'm not having fun. And why did I get it? Why did I choose to become an entrepreneur? It's because I wanted to have financial freedom and fun. Freedom is fun. Fun equals freedom. And yet some of you are so confused about who you are. Knolly and I wanted to do this masterclass. You can get crystal clear on what brings the dynamo, the tempo, the blaze and the steel flow in their lead generation. You're making sure that you're living in your zone of genius. You're lead generating in your zone of genius. You have the structures around you that's counterbalancing, and then you can join my mastermind to get the rest of the structures you need for accountability. Because this is all connected to why you do what you do. So remember, when we talk about the wealth dynamic square in nature, there's 4 seasons, 4 zones of genius. What, who, when, and where. And the 5th question is why. People don't buy what you do in your lead generation, they buy why you do it. Your clients don't care about the broker or who you work with. They want to be able to trust you. And money follows trust. So if you're struggling in growing your real estate business, if you're not getting the traction you need, it's not the what. If you're struggling in your real estate business, and people keep saying no to you or turning you down, or you're feeling like you're in competition with everyone around you, it's not the who. If you're struggling in your real estate business and you're taking class after class after class, you've got 10 different certifications in real estate, but you still haven't generated $500,000 GCI, it's not the how. And so how many notice you just dropped into your heart? I'm not speaking to your intellect anymore. I'm speaking straight to your heart. If you're struggling right now, you need to understand the why. This is part 2 of lead generation mastery. Yes, you do need the behavior. You need to embody the behaviors that are aligned in your zone of genius. Empowerment, powered by your purpose, your why. Because you're going to get turned down. You're going to lose a deal. You're going to make a mistake with the system and waste some money. What gets you through all of those setbacks and challenges as you're growing a successful business? Type it in the chat. What's the spiritual thrust that's going to keep you lead generating and doing content and videos when no one knows you yet? You know, how are you going to become a celebrity in your marketplace like Knolly teaches? What's the thrust? Type it in the chat. Do you know why you do what you do? Are you truly powered by your purpose and passion? Whether you're steel or blaze in the feeling dynamic, you need to know your purpose in real estate. Why do you do what you do? I love real estate because I love providing people exceptional value, integrity, and excellence in every transaction. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for people to work with Arttemis, and it's a blessing for them to work with me because I bring a concierge of services. I provide excellence in every transaction. And I love what I do with integrity and excellence. Those are my passions. That's my purpose in every real estate transaction. Integrity, excellence. I love people. I love helping people with integrity, confidence, and excellence. I have a team of masterful agents, stagers, photographers, builders, lenders, all providing a turnkey system for every real estate transaction. How many can feel what I'm saying? When you're on the phone lead generating, they feel you before you pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have your why and your purpose, they're going to question what you're saying. They're not going to trust you yet. They don't trust you if you don't have the fifth element in your business. So yes, we need the what, the who, the when, and the where, but we also need the why. So for some of you, you've been too vague. You've been lost in the how, or you've been just spinning your wheels with all these people, but you haven't connected your purpose to your business model. Self-awareness, self-mastery, self-expression, personal brand, product brand, company brand, self-awareness, self-mastery, self-expression. This is how you create a seven-figure business. And this is the essence of wealth dynamics, which is the why. It's what they call it in Taoist medicine, the fifth element, which is spirit. And I would not do this masterclass justice if I couldn't bring in the fifth element, because I give you what you want, which is more successful lead generation and flow in harmony through zone of genius. And now I need to give you what you need, which is to reconnect to this and then be able to express this in every call, video, email, text. Everything you do is going to reflect this beautiful, direct expression of your purpose, which is the fifth element. And it's the spiral staircase to heaven, guys. The why, the purpose in every marketing message, every voice, every video, every email, every phone call. When you have that clearly expressed, it's what brings you up the spiral staircase. It's when you're powered by your purpose and pulled by your vision, nothing can stop you, because if God is for you, who could be against you?
Amen. Preaching.
I'm getting chills all over, because this is the secret sauce to lead generation. If you're powered by your purpose and pulled by your vision, wealth dynamics, and you have a mentor system in the community, and you do the two in your zone of genius, if God is for you, who could be against you? Your success is inevitable when it's powered by purpose. Now, how do I find my purpose, Arttemis? In 3 questions or less. Let's talk about these questions. I wrote them down while Knolly was doing some side work. And thank you for helping me today, Knolly. I needed you in this masterclass to provide fresh perspectives.
You did ask me about my passion test. I don't feel like I answered that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you did the passion test with me, it was very eye-opening, very revealing, and it was enlightening, quite honestly. So we in the passion test, it's where you kind of go through all your different passions, and you narrow it down to 3: your number 1, your number 2, and your number 3. And as it happens, my number 1 passion, my number 2 passion, I was barely doing it all. And that also got me out of flow, because I wasn't walking inside of my passions. So now the barometer, I've got my 3 passions written right on the board, right behind. I can see it right in front of me.
You have a whiteboard with passions on it. Okay, got it. Just checking.
So that's the barometer. So everything that I do now I say, is this within my zone of genius? And is it one of my core passions? If it's not, I don't do it. And that's just, it makes it that simple. By the way, one other thing I wanted to bring up before you move on is that the way Arttemis got his real estate license was through Wealth Dynamics. You know, we were sitting at a Wealth Dynamics conference together, and Arttemis had been my coach for 3 years with no even idea or concept of getting a real estate license, maybe 4 years. And we were in this thing, and I said, and when I realized his zone of genius and my zone of genius, we were perfect partnership. So during recess at the event, we walked out in the hall, and I said, Arttemis, I think you need to get your real estate license and join me. And let's just partner up, man. I need somebody in this position, and I'm over in this position. You know, I'm a steel, you're a blaze. And he thought about it for a minute. I think he was caught off guard. I didn't even, it was the Holy Spirit came up with it. And he was like, I never thought about it, but let me pray on it. Next day he committed, and here we are working together. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It was that light bulb of self-awareness where I could see that, hey, I'm a blaze genius. Knolly's a steel genius. He needs someone like me on his team to go out and teach and train and help. And in order to do that, I had to get my real estate license. I love what I do with Knolly now. I'm having so much fun. Yeah, I've got 20, 50 leads coming to my pipeline every month. I'm creating training systems and programs. I'm connecting with all these amazing people in my real estate business and with you all. And every day I live in flow, powered by my purpose, which is to help people, which is to connect with people. And now Knolly can connect with the systems and multiply. Steel's multiply, blazes magnify. So also when I think about my zone of genius, I'm not working spreadsheets and accounting and doing all the details. My wife, who's a steel genius, balances me. And so when she's handling the details of my business, then I can do more work with people.
Hey, Arttemis. So yeah, it looks like, so hey guys, it looks like Arttemis froze up there a little bit. So we're going to try to get him back. Arttemis, if you can hear me, you are frozen. So let me see, let me look here. Bear with us one. Hey, that's the beauty of doing this live, guys. Let me just. Jermaine says this is too good. The devil is a liar. Yeah, the devil doesn't want you guys to get this information. So Arttemis was kicked out. We're going to wait for him to jump back in. Okay, he said he had a power surge. Computer is rebooting. So that's cool. Yeah, actually we've got a little bit of stuff going on here too. So while his computer reboots, I'm going to go ahead and take over. You guys can hear me okay. So in the chat, I want you to just put in the chat, how are you enjoying this so far? What has this done for you so far? How is this helping you so far? Put it down there in the chat and let's talk about it. So in Austin, we have, while you guys are chatting that, we have a winter weather advisory in Austin, Texas. Last week, it was 85 degrees. Okay, I was out walking on Town Lake. Beautiful, beautiful 85-degree weather, shorts and a t-shirt. Actually, I didn't have a shirt on. That was last week. This week coming up, it's supposed to get down below 10 degrees. So that's the kind of, I've never seen that happen. I've been here for 32 years. So that's going to be interesting. But there's a lot of rain going on right now. So he had a power outage. And so as soon as he jumps back in, we'll let him back in the room. Okay, so let's look at some of the comments from you guys. Amber said, this is great. Looking forward to taking the full test. Yeah, the Genius test, I did put in the chat, the free Genius test. So you can take the free one, which I recommend. Just take the free one for now. Later on, you can take the full one. It's $100 for the full one, but I understand that some of you guys have discount codes. I don't know how you got those, but if you got a discount code, use it. He said Arttemis says his router is rebooting. So he's going through it. That's okay. No worries. No worries. Amber said the 50% off code did work. So if you guys can scroll up in the chat. There's a 50% off code. Normally to take the full Genius test, which I highly recommend, it's $100, but there's a 50% discount code running around here in the chat. So yes, okay, Amber just reposted it. Mina reposted it as well. So so somebody's asking, how do you take the wealth, or I mean the passion test? Oh, the passion test. I actually have a link to the passion test. That's a good question. Let me see if I can find it real quick. And I'll put it in the chat. I have a link to take the passion test for free. And y'all know I like free stuff, but hey, you know, hey, Will, sometimes we have to pay for stuff, you know. Will said, Will was joking with me earlier. He said, hold on a second. Panelists, here we go. No, hold on. Trying to do two things at once. Okay, there's the link to the passion test. Let me see if Arttemis is back in the room. Because I'd have to, okay, no, he's not back yet. So I just shared with you guys a link to the free, is that the, oh, that's the wrong test. Sorry. Hold on, let me do one thing at a time. So I just gave you the purpose test. Let me now give you the passion test. There's all kind of tests out there. But I'm going to give you the passion test, which is the one I recommend. This is the one Arttemis did with me. Okay, so now you have a link to the free purpose test, and then there's another link to the free passion test. Hopefully those links still work. They change it quite often. So let me see what you guys are saying. Thomas says that it's amazing, quite impressed with the content and how it can enable people to excel in real estate and life. Yeah, this is so true. See, God gave every single one of us differences. You know, when God created the Homo sapiens, he created us to need each other. Nobody succeeds alone. Write that down. Nobody succeeds alone. It takes a village. It takes a tribe. Okay. And that's why God gave you some gifts, and he gave your wife or your husband some gifts, or your partner some gifts, and everyone is unique and different. We all need each other. Okay. One of the big things is that many of us have been hurt in life and business, so we don't trust people. We got that alligator skin. It's time to return to trust, return to intuition, return to the Holy Spirit to allow you to know who to partner with. And this whole wealth dynamics will really help you, because in wealth dynamics, you basically can see, okay, I'm this, I need to partner with that, for example. So that's good, Thomas. Appreciate that. Shauna is saying, hold on, let me let Arttemis know to text me. I'm just going to tell him to text me when he's back in. All right. So Shauna is saying, Shauna Stevens says, it's helping me to not be so hard on myself. That's true. Not to be so hard on myself. Let me read it over here. Instead of beating myself up, this is teaching me to work with my genius style. That's right. You know, Einstein said, or this attributed to Einstein, everyone is a genius. Okay. Everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking that it is stupid. Okay. Everyone is a genius. You put that fish in the water, it swims, it does tricks, it dances backward. You know, it looks like it's just like it's moving through clouds in the water. But you try to ask that fish to climb a tree, it won't happen. Okay. And many of you are trying to climb a tree, but you're a fish. We need to get you back in the ocean where you belong so you can be free and swim. Okay. All right. So let me see what else we got here. Somebody asked, okay, Arttemis is back. How'd you get, you got to be a panelist again? How'd that happen? This thing has memory. All right.
It has memory.
So Arttemis is back in the house. Somebody asked, will this be recorded? Absolutely. It is being recorded as well. So we just asked for some comments of Arttemis, and we got some real good ones. Back to you.
Right. So yeah, for more continuing education, check out the Millionaire Master Plan by our mentor, Roger Hamilton. For your Blaze Geniuses, get the Audible version, listen to it. For those of you who are extrovert, you learn through auditory channels. For the Steel geniuses, get the book and enjoy the Audible, but Steels will enjoy reading it as well. And that's just the introvert extrovert. You can also take a more advanced quiz than the one you got today that was free. There's a wealth dynamics profile test, which goes over the percentages of your genius and kind of helps you understand where you land on the wealth dynamics square in the 8 profiles, because today's introduction to the 4 profiles, but there's more sophisticated work in this wealth dynamics. And let's talk about purpose. Everyone take another deep breath in. When you look at your state of flow, when you look at your state of fun and what you enjoy in your life and business, there's that 5th element there that's like the rudder in your water. So if your business is a boat and the promised land is $500,000 GCI a year, 10,000 people on your database, 50 to 100 listings a year, whatever that vision is you have for your real estate business, whatever that vision is you have for financial freedom. If you're the boat and the vision is the promised land, but you don't know your purpose, your rudder's out of the water. So what happens with the boat is it just starts to move in circles, and you confuse activity with accomplishment. Because it's that 5th element that's gonna get you out of that rut, Steel geniuses, and into more connection with others. It's that 5th element, tempo geniuses, that you're gonna put into your vision and your whiteboard, and you're gonna put at the top of your whiteboard. And it's gonna keep you moving into the right actions, powered by your purpose, rudder in your water. Like, this is the secret scrolls, guys. This is why you came here today. This is why you're here, is because it's time to ask yourself better questions to have a more sophisticated, more fulfilling business. The first question is, who am I? Yeah, that was important to go over the 4 zones of genius and what gives you flow and lead generation. The second question is, why am I here? And then the third question is, where am I going? The mystics, the sages, have been asking us these questions for eons of time. Who am I? What do you love doing as an entrepreneur and a real estate agent? Why do I do it? So there's 3 questions for you to really hone in on. And then when you start answering these questions, you start to see your core values. Remember, I told you, I bring confidence, integrity, and excellence to every real estate transaction. I have a concierge of amazing people, systems, and solutions to every single problem a client could have, from contract to close and beyond. I provide a whole list of services after the clients close the transaction. And all of that has to be powered by my purpose, or I wouldn't be able to sustain the transaction. It would become a hustle and a grind. If you're doing business just for the money, you're not a conscious entrepreneur. You're just a hustler. If you're doing business just for the money, guys, without purpose in your branding and your marketing and your automation, you're just another hustler. It's time to ask yourself these questions and then put it on your whiteboard. Whether you put it on your 4-foot whiteboard or your 6-foot whiteboard, you want to get that passion statement, that passionate purpose in front of you. And every morning when you wake up and you do the Freedom 4x5, I'll be teaching you all this in the continuity program, in the Freedom Team Mastermind. Powered by your purpose, pulled by your vision on the path of least resistance in your zone of genius, creates amazing amounts of fun and joy and success. So there's my passion board every morning. There it is, right there. That's in that board is the answers to all the questions I'm about to give you, kind of summed up in words and feelings, because that's the 5th element. The first question is, who do I serve in my marketplace? Who do you love serving? Knolly loved listings. He loved multiplying his success through listings. Listing practice was perfect for his Steel genius when he realized he didn't have to do all the work and he could start delegating. And if you're a Blaze genius and you want the same business model, understand who you want to go out and target, and have our systems in the background helping you leverage the how. Surrender the how and enjoy the wow, as one of our teachers says. Who do I serve? Is it people over 50 looking to sell their house and you know, downsize their family? Is it mothers and families? Is it people relocating? Is it people moving away? It's like, who do you serve? Who do you love serving in real estate? You don't have to serve everybody because everybody's not looking for your passion and purpose. You get defined in that purpose, and then you start connecting that purpose to your marketing, branding, and lead generation. And the next question is, why do I serve? So if you love serving people, you know, mothers and families between 35 and 55, and that's the market you like to serve, why do you serve them? Why do you serve that market? What's the fuel? What's the spiritual power that gets you to pick up that phone every day, to do that next video, to build the next marketing engine that's going to make you financially free one day? If you're not powered by your purpose, you will not have the thrust that will get you there. You need that fifth element as front and center, guys, front and center every day. When you get up in the morning and you're doing hydration, movement, meditation, journaling, and lead gen, those are the 5 rhythms that I'll teach you. Every morning you're starting with body, mind, spirit, hydration, movement, meditation. And when you get into the meditation, you're in the emotion, the purpose, the power, and the passion. And you fill yourself up every morning with that spiritual fuel. And then you go lead generate in harmony with your zone of genius. But the most important activity was the 3 things you did before you started lead generating, was drawing from that spiritual well. What are you getting from this, Knolly? I see light bulbs going off. Talk to us.
You can see, oh, is okay. So man, I can't believe the time's already, no, I'm getting a lot. It's basically, I'm seeing that you have to tie all this together. You have to, the front end of it, and really it's the Holy Spirit that's kind of feeding me this, but the beginning of it all, when I wrote down, I just wrote down, who do I serve? How do I serve them? And it, for me, it's always been more of the brain, but it's letting that sink into the heart, truly down in the heart. Like, why am I really serving these people? Why am I doing this? So that part really spoke to me.
Yeah. First question is, who do you serve? Get specific. Who do you love serving in every real estate transaction that lights you up? I just closed 2 houses in Kyle, Texas with almost no inventory, and they're both families. I love serving families. They're 2 beautiful Indian families. They're bringing me another 2 real estate deals. But I knew who I served before I closed those transactions. I put them under contract. Why do I serve? And then the third question is, how do I provide exceptional value? Now that you know your zone of genius, inside your zone of genius is how you provide exceptional value. If you're steel genius, you know how things work. You'll give people the details when they need it. If you're blaze genius, you're going to be a great collaborator and connector, and you're going to bring the people together to make their transactions smooth and effortless. So how do you provide exceptional value? Why do you serve, and who do you serve? When you write this out, and I'm asking you, like all of you, if you've not done this exercise, do it. Listen to me very carefully. What I'm about to tell you is the most important thing I could teach you today. To know and not to do is not to know. If you don't do this exercise and you're struggling with money, you're not teachable. If it's time to connect with your purpose, it's time to get a mentor system community, and it's time to channel that purpose into everything you're doing. It doesn't matter how broke you are or how rich you are, powered by your purpose, pulled by your vision. And even Knolly, like asking himself the same question, why am I serving them? Like that is a whole new level for him. It's a whole new level for me today as I teach this to you. And it's a whole new level for you as you're wanting to become more successful in your business right now. That you want to have these questions clear in your mind, revealed in your heart. Your heart never has a question. Your mind has a ton of questions. But all the answers, all the purpose in you is already right here. And it's why you became an entrepreneur, and it's why you're here today. And I'm now asking you specificity. Be specific. Specificity brings feeling. Be specific with your answers, because in those answers, you start to connect to the power of purpose. And then you translate that to a whiteboard and you do the Freedom 4x5 every morning and you lead generate every day, powered by your purpose. And you start to connect to it. It becomes a Holy Spirit. It becomes a flame in you. And that flame of God begins to light you up in every connection you make with every prospect, every client, every referral. They can feel it before you pick up the phone. And this is the secret sauce to successful lead generation. This is lead generation mastery. This is why you have not been consistent with your lead generations, because you don't know who you are and you don't have purpose articulated and communicated so that your marketplace can feel it. And then you become a lighthouse. You go from red to orange to yellow to green because the fifth element is pulling you up. Can I get an amen? I feel like I'm I'm preaching right now, but it's like, it's so important that you connect to these questions and that you start to channel these questions into your daily practice, and that lead generation will become magical from these questions, because 99% is off the radar, agents. 1% is doing the 2 every day. 99% is off the radar. The purpose pulls it in. The passion drives you. The vision pulls you. And thank you for being here to this lead generation masterclass. That wraps it up. That's part 2,
Hey.
Short and sweet. And then if you're watching the replay, click the link below the video to join the Freedom Team Mastermind. If you have interest in the Freedom Team Mastermind, you want more accountability and the systems and the proven structures, reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on Workplace, and let's get you supported, because this is an introduction into your zone of genius, into getting more into flow, but also into creating the behaviors that you need. And remember, one final thing I'll teach, Knolly, that I just learned from my mentor, Chris, is that behavior is the highest form of communication. Write that down. Your behavior is the highest form of communication. Some of you are doing the wrong behaviors outside your zone of genius, thinking you have to. Some of you are not consistent with your behaviors because you haven't connected to your purpose deeply enough. And when you align these actions, though your will, your word, and your actions with behavior, magic and miracles start happening in your business. And with consistent behavior, you shift your subconscious, conscious, and superconscious mind, and you'll have what you desire through creating the right behaviors. And so why did I create the Freedom Team Mastermind? Is so I could help you with that, because you need to have consistent accountability to move into the correct behaviors. Behavior is the highest form of communication. I love you all. Thank you for having me, Knolly. I know this was an excellent class. It'll be an excellent replay.
Yeah. And I saw in the chat some people were like, "Hey, where's the offer? I'm waiting for the upsell. I'm waiting for the offer." Well, the truth is kind of funny. The truth is we Arttemis hasn't even put one together. It's just that we know that you guys are going to need more support and help. So he'll get that information out to you guys later. It wasn't our intention to really jump on this and upsell something. We just wanted to get this information out because we know that you need it. Can I get an amen? Has it been good to you guys? Thank you so much, Arttemis. Love you, brother. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for coming from the heart, sharing so much. And I think it really, a lot of light bulbs went on for me. And I know that a lot of light bulbs went on for our students when they heard this. And they're like, wait a minute, I don't have to figure it all out or have it all figured out. No, you don't. Thank God. And that's good news. All right, guys. Love y'all.